Yes, Modern Warfare 3's multiplayer is the best multiplayer we've gotten in years, and it is so refreshing after multiple Call of Duty titles where it felt like multiplayer was a low priority afterthought. This video is exclusively about multiplayer. The campaign is a whole different story. That was absolutely abysmal. I'm thoroughly enjoying multiplayer on the other hand, and usually I'll start with positives, but I'm gonna start with negatives because there's actually very few bad things I have to say about this game. Honestly, the only thing I can think of that I have strong negative feelings for is certain UI elements, which isn't really important because it's not core gameplay. But for instance, the Modern Warfare 3 operator icons look like they're from a cheap mobile game, especially when you stack them up against the Modern Warfare 2 operators. This doesn't translate to their actual look in game, but it adds a cheaper feeling to the game. But again, that's not even that important. That's honestly the only thing I passionately feel negatively about. I have a few mixed feelings on some things. Kinda sorta am iffy on the spawn system. Overall, I am happy with them. They've drastically changed them from the beta, and they feel great at launch in most game modes. These spawns are most similar to the traditional Call of Duty spawn system, where they're not going to be flipping constantly. Thank God they actually fixed them. I'm sick and tired of playing a match and then having people spawn right behind me when you cross a halfway point of the map or the quarter point of the map. Domination is finally playable. I used to play this all the time back in the day, and then I stopped around Modern Warfare 2019 because it was unplayable. Capping spawn flags didn't give you map control. Now they do in this game, and I'm loving it. There's just a few maps and modes that need some work on their spawns. I know Hardpoint is very bad right now. There's a lot of times where it will spawn people on top of each other. However, Sledgehammer has acknowledged this and are working on it. But overall, I think the spawns are actually in a pretty good point, so maybe that isn't really mixed feelings. Hit detection, though, is something that is actually mixed. It's not flawless, but it's not unplayable. A lot of people have had complaints about this. In some games and in some gunfights, your bullets obviously won't register. I just finished up the sniper rifle grind, and there's been instances where my bullet clearly should have hit, but it just didn't register anything. It's not constant, but it's often enough where you will notice it. It's something that can be improved, but again, it's not frustrating like it has been in previous games. One last thing I think I have mixed feelings on before we move into positive is skill-based matchmaking, which I don't even know if I'd say I have mixed feelings on. It's more so that I have no feelings for it, and I really haven't cared for skill-based matchmaking in that whole debate since it became a popular talking point. So skill-based matchmaking does look like it is in the game if that's something that y'all are worried about, but again, I don't really care that much, so I don't really have anything else to say. But that's really it for like the non-positive things to say about this game. Overall, I think this game feels great. They've successfully made a game that feels like it plays like a traditional Call of Duty, but in modern times. Not in like modern warfare times, but like modern gaming times. A lot of the previous Call of Duty titles would introduce a new feature or a new game mechanic, but they felt more shoehorned in rather than like a polished, thought about feature. It felt like just a new feature just to be a new feature. Like Modern Warfare 2 had a vision for kind of a slower play style, a bit more tactical, but it was kind of half-assed because it wasn't what players said they wanted, so they didn't go all in on it. And as time went on, they kept backtracking more and more, and the gameplay loop just got more and more disjointed. Things didn't really flow together well. All the mechanics in Modern Warfare 3 work well together. I think the time to kill is in a great spot. It's very similar to Black Ops Cold War. It's slightly longer. You're not going to get laser beam. There's actual time for some gunfights and for you to turn a gunfight around. Movement feels great. I've never cared much for movement like some players do. I actually dislike the idea of slide canceling, and I'd prefer it not be in the game, but it is in the game this year. Alongside a new tac stance feature, you got sliding, you got diving, you got mantling, and overall all the animations for movement are faster across the board. And it all feels fluid. It all feels like they can chain off of each other. It's not very clunky. I think the spawns are working pretty well and they tie everything together. We have the traditional 3 perk system back. There's no time perks anymore like we had in Modern Warfare 2. Traditional core mechanics are back, like Dead Silence, Sleight of Hand, and Stalker all being perks you can have on at all times, while also having the option to have Dead Silence as a field upgrade if you want to use another boot perk instead of Covert Sneakers. They gave us the best of both worlds. About like the sounds great. It has that classic Modern Warfare 2 kind of arcadey, punchy sound effects to them. This game's just so much more enjoyable than what we've had the past few years. It's fun, and I find myself wanting to play for fun rather than playing just to have something to do and to grind or playing for content. I'm thoroughly enjoying this game. Kudos to Sledgehammer for listening to feedback and actually implementing it in a timely manner. We've seen more changes in the first 2 weeks of Modern Warfare 3 than the first 2 seasons of Modern Warfare 2, if not longer. They've listened to feedback and they implemented that into the core gameplay mechanics. I forgot to mention earlier that traditional red dots are back on the minimap. That is a big W. They've been actively communicating on socials what they're doing with the game and what their plans are. They have this new experimental playlist to test things out publicly that players want to try out, and it shows that they're actually open to ideas. Just today, as I was recording this video, they revealed that they'll be publicly experimenting looping kill streaks in that playlist, and they'll be experimenting with non-disbanding lobbies. I mean, at this rate, I'm almost expecting a surprise with Prestige come Season 1 in a few weeks, but we'll have to wait and see about that. But to recap, this game has the most polished multiplayer we've had at launch, and it's gotten a lot of things right. Not saying it's perfect, it still has room to improve, but there's very few complaints I have about it at the moment, and I truly feel it's the best COD since the Jetpack era. Dare I say the best COD since Black Ops 2. I'm really enjoying it, and I hope the momentum continues throughout the year and they don't put multiplayer aside when Warzone comes out. That is a fear of mine, so fingers crossed. I'm curious to hear what you think, so leave a comment down below. If you have the game, are you liking it or you're not? If you don't have the game, do you think you're going to be getting it, or does it not look like your cup of tea? Don't forget to hit that like button, consider subscribing to the channel if you aren't already, and thanks for watching. Catch you on the next one.